Hello, Brian James, that Micro Four Thirds guy here again. You know, some of the most enjoyable roles I've had have been as a press officer for a couple of voluntary organisations. I've done the job twice and learned a lot in the process. Once as the media communications officer for the local wing of the RAF Air Cadets, and more recently with my Rotary District team. As a photographer, we use different sets of skills to produce great shots which are usable by magazine editors. One such skill to develop is the use of white or dead space in our images. This really is more usable than you may think at first. Yes, not everybody is going to be putting photos into international magazines, but to know these simple tips could be the difference between your shots being used in a village newsletter, the local paper, a specialist hobby magazine, or a catalogue, or alternatively, not being used at all. Now, keep watching to the end to see how I do a shoot for a visitor's guide. Now, if you've not subscribed, then please hit the subscribe button below and the notify bell. Also, please hit the thumbs up to like. And if you enjoy this video, then you can help keep the channel going by buying me a coffee with the PayPal link below. So, what's special about photos for a magazine compared to your normal shots? Well, white or dead space, that's what. Normally, as photographers, we are looking to fill the frame with the perfect composition to make the best use of the full area. But magazine areas are looking to tell their story not only by the use of your photo, but by other text and graphics too. They need somewhere to place that text or the other graphics, and that's where the dead space comes into its own. It's not intuitive to give up a large area of real estate on your shot to someone else. We spend years perfecting our craft to lead the eye where we want it, using our rule of thirds and leading lines, etc. It just doesn't seem normal or natural to deliberately leave a large expanse of sky or to put our key subject so far off to the side or top or bottom. But that is exactly what is needed for print publications. I've shot a few examples here and illustrated them to give a feel of what's needed. Any similarity to any real publication is purely accidental. They came straight out of my head as examples and are not meant to be real. Let's look at a few of those examples. Oh, and as I say, keep watching to see how they can look when finished. In this example, I have a finger post highlighted way off to the right, and I've deliberately dumbed down the contrast on the background. This both highlights the main item, the sign, but also avoids fighting with any graphics which may be applied later. In this instance, it's used as a cover for a countryside style magazine. Because the background was made more washed out, it gives the editor the opportunity to use less strong coloured text. Knowing the style of the intended publication can make a huge difference to your photo being used or rejected. If you can use that knowledge to dictate the shot at source, then you may have a winner. One of the first commercial shoots I was employed to do was for a hotel wedding brochure. I did the obligatory cakes and white gown type shots, but I also took some of the hotel itself. It was these which were published. In this made-up example, similar to the leaflet which you see at venues throughout the world, there is little white space, but a couple of areas of suitable space, without the main feature, the staircase, being present, i.e. the ceiling and the tiled floor being there. Again, by talking with the intended publisher, the hotel manager, I had a good idea of what style would be needed, and so I deliberately allowed the warmth of the tungsten lighting to dominate, especially as there was a brown furniture and brown marble in shot. Dead space is that area where the text and graphics can be placed. Often referred to as white space, it doesn't necessarily need to be white, but it should be relatively plain and barren, something which does not lead the eye away from the text. Almost everywhere has a local magazine filled with items from local folk, history, what's on, a message from the local clergy, and adverts from local tradespeople. These can be a great way for people to see your skills as a photographer. You will rarely get paid, but always get a credit, and it can be a good way to make new contacts, and even some business if you're of that way of thinking. You see these magazines on all the local doctors and dentists, and they're posted straight into people's houses. What a great way to get known as the local photographer. Again, leaving some space at the top works well for the title logo, but the grass strip down the right could also be used for a "What's inside this edition" type of lettering. Often it takes some out-of-the-box thinking to get a great shot. Hobby or specialist magazines can not only give national or even international coverage, but can also make a little royalty money too. Editors are inundated with shots of the normal subjects, and so something related yet unusual can often be the thing which makes you stand out from the crowd. Additionally, if you're aware of upcoming trends or news, then you can always throw in a couple of specialist items such as this railway signal arm. There's a lot of free space around the signal, and it's a pretty easy colour for a typesetter editor to place text onto too. Additionally, commercial magazines like to highlight the various stories on the cover. They are, after all, competing for shelf space and customers at the newsagents. A striking image on a clean background with lots of usable space gives editors options and a very different yet pertinent image to that of their competition. And the image ties in with the main story, obviously hot news in those circles. So what do I look for when I'm doing a shoot to sound out? Well, let's take an imaginary commission for my local aircraft museum visitor's guide. The Solway Aviation Museum at Carlisle Airport is real, and so is the Vulcan bomber. However, they have not commissioned me to do this for real, nor sponsored me either. But I really would advise a visit if you're near Carlisle in the UK, as the museum is superb with a lot of really well cared for exhibits, including a Phantom, an English Electric Lightning, a Jet Provost, a Meteor, a Canberra bomber, a Hunter jet fighter, and many more. Now, on the photo front, it's always worth leaving a little extra space around the subject than you may expect to finally use. Most full-size publications only require around an 8 megapixel shot for a single page and around 12 megapixels for a dual centerfold type of photo. So even a 16 megapixel older Micro Four Thirds type camera will have room to comfortably crop to size. I always try to picture what my shot will look like in my mind, with a title or a few columns of text printed around before I actually start the shoot. Additionally, try to have shots which are left-hand leading and right-hand leading to offer, as they will know which way around they want to lay out the shots, but you won't. Again, shooting different to what would normally make a good composition can work better. In these shots, I've concentrated just on the nose of the aircraft. Although the delta wing shape is iconic for the Vulcan, it would have been very difficult to get a usable shot and leave space, so a close-up of the easily recognisable nose section works better. Always take more shots than you think they may need. It can open up the door to use elsewhere in the publication. Here, for instance, a right-facing vertical shot makes an excellent front cover page, and as the aircraft is the biggest in the collection, it's almost a mascot for the museum. The use of a similar photo from the other direction gives the opportunity for an internal detail shot, either as a single page or, because I took several different shots in different aspects, as a double page spread. Taking photos for publication is a great way to improve your photo skills, to get noticed, to have fun, and maybe even to make a little cash. Why not give it a try? So until the next time, whatever you shoot, just keep on shooting those photos. See you next time. Bye-bye.